we'll go to GS3. So GS3 first is definitely economy. So GS3 is one subject I feel is content dense in the sense that you have to include a lot of figures, stats, lot of possibly if graphs are there, graphs are also good enough. So GS3 as a paper is completely content dense. GS1, GS2 you can do a bit of analysis and everything, but GS3 is something that requires a lot of content. So in that sense you have to always keep an eye on stats, figures and every such things. That is extremely important and you have to use them liberally. Like wherever, even for substantiating your points, you have to use them. Like for instance, I remember last year there was a question on something like land reforms. So I remember quoting SCCC data on what percentage of lands are marginal, what percentage of lands are small, which sections held how much of land and all such things. So this kind of data is very important and you have to use the data very liberally. So that is there. And apart from that, another important topic in economy is agriculture. So at least 3 to 4 questions are coming from agriculture every year, and the questions are also becoming dynamic. Dynamic in the sense they're asking something like technological impact, so and so technological impact, like what is the impact of nanotechnology or what is the impact of e-technology on agriculture or something like that. For this again you need to have framework ready. Framework in the sense, if you are preparing a notes on something like technological impact of e-technological impact on agriculture, you have to prepare like what is the impact of e-technology on factors of production. That is, one factor of production is land, second factor of production is labor, third factor of production is capital. And then you have to also include how e-technology helps in marketing, how e-technology helps in food processing, how e-technology helps in waste management, how e-technology helps in price discovery for farmers, how e-technology helps consumers also, and all such things. So this is what I mean by framework. So whenever you are reading something like this, you have to have this framework ready and you have to include all the points and all the examples. It is extremely important to substantiate these points with examples. So if you have these frameworks ready, that is going to be helpful. So in case of agriculture, your entire notes and your entire framework has to be supply chain like. From farm to fork, what are all the steps involved? Like whether it is factors of production, whether it is cold storage facilities, whether it is grading facilities, whether it is marketing facilities, whether it is reaching it to customers, whether it is food processing and all such things. This is the supply chain I am talking about. So whenever you are making any topic notes for agriculture, this is the supply chain thing you have to follow. And your answers also should reflect the supply chain so that they appear again diversified and you can easily be able to generate the points. So that is extremely important. And apart from that, so there is also something like disaster management. Disaster management, I think I already told you what is the case in the beginning of the session, how it is, how you are going to make frameworks and all such things. And another thing is environment. So environment is also there. Environment, in my opinion, you need to have a wide reading because you are getting some unconventional questions and it is possible that you might not be able to, for instance, they are asking disasters like mention some recent dam failures that have happened, all such things. They are asking some random kind of questions. For this, you know to have a kind of wider reading. What I did was I took mains 365 compilations of previous 2 years and I made my environment notes from that only. Because environment questions, they are like a continuum. What do I mean by continuum? The issues are happening since 2 to 3 years. It's not like the issue, for instance, there is something like dam failures. That is an issue that has been happening for the past 2 to 3 years. You cannot not read the topic just because it was happening something like 2 to 3 years back. Even if the topic has happened 2 to 3 years back, it is still relevant, because some or the other way the incident is happening again, or the ramifications are still felt or something like that. So the questions are in a kind of continuum where for 2 to 3 years issues are extremely important. So you better take some kind of compilation for past 2 years or 3 years and prepare your notes out of it, so that even if any unconventional question comes up in environment, you will be able to handle them. That is extremely important. And seeing this year's papers, I think your prelims environment knowledge is also helpful in your mains, because they have asked questions on Ramsar sites, they have asked questions on protected areas, national parks and all such things, which we usually do read for prelims and we forget the details, but they have asked it in mains also in 15 marker questions and all such things. So having an eye on your prelims notes for mains when it comes to environment is also important, because you can use that knowledge as examples, or you can also use them in dealing with unconventional questions that may be asked once in a while every year. So that is there. And apart from that, there is science and technology. So science and technology was one area that I was not really comfortable with, because the questions you may also get some vague questions in science and technology. Like there was a question on blue LEDs few years back, which was out of the blue. So all such things were there. So, but what can you do for science and technology is that take up every technology, take up biotechnology, and then a holistic notes has to be there, or holistic framework has to be there. What do you all include in biotechnology? You can include something like all such things, something related to gene editing, something related to genome sequencing, something related to stem cells, something related to vaccines. This comes under biotechnological impacts on health, its applications in health, but it also has its implications in agriculture. It also has its implications in defense. Bioterrorism, right? Bioterrorism, where that is there. So that is also there. And it also has its implications in other fields. So do this for every technology, whether it is biotechnology, nanotechnology, robotics, something like upcoming technologies like supercomputing, all such things. Take up each technology, do their applications for every field, and when you're doing the applications, segregate them properly. That is biological, defense, agriculture, etc. Within this also you can make a framework. Biological, one is disease detection, second is treatment, third is prevention. So all such things. So that is how you make your notes. When you make your notes like this, it's easy for you to revise and also bring up diverse points, like I said. So this is how you can make your science and tech questions. And another important area in science and tech is that they are asking questions of recent nature. Like for instance, there was a question on Chandrayaan-3 last year, because that was obviously there in the news. So it's important for you to go into the details. So if Chandrayaan-3 is there, not just a cursory reading, but you have to go into the details of payloads and all such things that are there in the mission. So if anything comes up like this year, or if anything has been happening, you have to have a detailed understanding of that thing, because a direct 15 marker is expected. It has been the case since last 3-4 years. There was something on MOM asked in something like 2014 or 15 mains paper, and they asked about Chandrayaan-3. They asked about vaccines during the COVID year, very detailed question on vaccines. And they asked about e-vehicles also. E-vehicles are in the news, they are asking about that also. So whatever is happening in the news, you have to go into the details of it, not just a cursory reading, but go a lot into the details. Then you will be able to handle such questions that are being asked. So this is about science and technology. Any specific questions for GS3? Oh yeah, internal security is there. So internal security. Internal security, as far as I remember, I did it wholly from a book written by two senior IPS officers. I don't remember their names, but you can check it on Google. That is a very good book, which has a crisp, all internal security issues are detailedly explained in that. You can refer to that book. And again, in internal security, when you are making your notes, it's extremely important that you have the framework set. Any internal security challenge, left-wing extremism, terrorism, organized crime, any of such things, you need to have a framework, that is what is legal framework, institutional measures, technological measures, community-based approach, governmental approach. Within governmental approach, you will have different approaches, that is law and order approach, developmental approach, perception management approach, you can also include global efforts. For instance, money laundering, you have to mention FATF organization, that is there, and regional groupings. For instance, there is something called a regional anti-terrorist structure under ACO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization for Terrorism. So regional efforts you can mention. So this is how you need to prepare your notes or have a framework for every internal security challenge in the paper. And within that you can have, like I said, this is extremely important. Governmental approach, law and order approach, like what are the law and order measures that government is taking to tackle something like left-wing extremism. What are the developmental approaches? Developmental approaches can be anything like developing social infrastructure, developing physical infrastructure, building social capital, and then perception management. So what is perception management? Perception management is usually you have the people who are suffering these internal security challenges will have a negative attitude towards the government. Like whenever security forces enter the region, they have a negative attitude, but the government has to manage the perception of the people that it is for their good that they are here. So and all such things. So this year also there was a question directly from this aspect of the paper, that is winning the hearts and minds of people of Jammu and Kashmir. There was a question the year I wrote, hearts and minds of people of J&K. This was directly about perception management. So when you have the notes prepared like this, it's easy for you to do it, and also it's extremely important that you pay special attention to probably technological measures, because this is becoming a favorite area for UPSC again. They're asking how different technologies can be used to something like to curb or to do something like money laundering, all such things. So this part is becoming a favorite area, so you can kind of prepare extensively on it. Within this technology you can have again frameworks, right? Space technology, how can space technology be utilized to tackle challenges, and how can something like cryptography can be used, something like darknet and dark web are used, all such things. So when you're paying attention, when you're making notes or reading, pay attention to these aspects, whether you're covering all of these things. If you're reading something like technology, go into the details, what kind of technologies. If you're doing government efforts, go into the details of what all different kind of government efforts. So this is extremely important for internal security, and society knowledge is also helpful for you to write internal security answers, because a lot of it is overlapping. Because regionalism, communalism, all such things have basis are somewhere related to internal security challenges. So you can use your society examples in internal security also, and update your knowledge, update your knowledge constantly. For instance, when you're quoting something on internal security challenge in Northeast India, it's important that you quote recent examples, like Bodo agreement, all such things, rather than quoting some very old frameworks. So this is extremely important when you're doing for internal security, and maps can be utilized in internal security actually. That is a good area where you can utilize maps properly. And when you're dealing something related to drug trafficking, you can definitely show golden crescent and golden triangle on map. That is extremely important. So all such things. So also one more thing you can do in internal security is case studies. Like for each challenge, there are numerous good case studies that you can quote. For instance, left-wing extremism, there is something called greyhounds that everybody probably might have heard, greyhounds. So all such things. For every internal security challenge, you can think about a case study, you can collect a case study and you can use it. That is the way how you can differentiate or probably give depth to your answers. So that is about internal security. Yeah. Any other questions?
What are
economy, like I said again, topper notes was something, Datri Reddy ma'am notes, Rishikesh Reddy sir notes, all such things, and monthly magazines, yearly compilations, newspapers. These were the things that were, it was mostly similar for every subject. Mostly topper copies, 2 or 3 topper notes, and then current affairs for every subject. So, that is it or anything else?